It seemed like past the wire, he sort of picked it up on his own and like done a little bit more today than he had done since the Derby. Mostly he's done since the Derby.
Yeah, that's the Gustavo's training method. The horse picks it up pole by pole, and always quite the strong gallop outs. Even back at Gulfstream before the Kentucky Derby, those 3/4 works were actually mile works. After the wire, he'd go another quarter, 3/8 on his own, just galloping out quite strongly. So he's just sticking to the program. He's a really intelligent horse, and that's his biggest attribute. He's just programmed so well, and he's picking it up here, so everyone's happy.
Gustavo Jr. said that the horse is maturing race by race. Are you noticing the same sort of thing day by day, maturation process with this horse?
Well, they're around him a lot more than I am. I come in for, obviously I'm here for this race, and at Gulfstream, I show up probably twice a week to the barn. But, it's like they're so young at this age. I'm sure those of you who have children, when you see your kids over time, they start maturing, and they'll do things that make you kind of turn on and look at them and say, oh, wow, you're growing up before our eyes, So the races are making him, are developing him race by race, So we're just waiting to see how far down the well of talent he has. And every day he's showing more and more signs of maturation and kind of understanding his job and to be a racehorse. So it's great to see that happening.
Seems so laid back. Has he been that way?
Yeah, he's never changed. He has since ever when he got here from the sale as a baby, he'd have little things. He was a little bullish and playful, and he'd do things, but he's so smart. I mean, I can't overstate that. He's a really intelligent horse, and not only does he take care of himself during the races and knows when he responds to the cues from the rider so well, and he's learned Gustavo's training program as a horse himself, and you can see it as he picks up the rhythm on his own. And even if you watch back the Derby, that move, like he starts picking it up on his own. Like Javi was just guiding him, picking the right holes, and when we asked him, he finished up. Like if you watch the Kentucky Derby from the 8th pole home, he's accelerating. He's not decelerating. He's coming home with everything. The horse is just a really smart horse, and just doing everything right now.
Is the team doing anything differently to prepare for this race, what with a smaller field and 110 fewer yards?
No. He ran a similar race at a mile and an eighth in the Florida Derby, where he made one big move and made some adjustments timing-wise between, instead of half mile, Javi asked him, obviously closer to home in the Derby, and you leave that up to Javier and Gustavo when they make their strategy, But as far as training regimen, everything's routine.
You said he galloped a mile and a half today. Is that going to be the regimen for the rest of the week?
I believe so.
I know I asked you this on the conference call, but what can you say about the ownership group and kind of how great it is to see everybody come together and for a Derby win and also this weekend?
Well, when I made the calls to pick up to try to add Chase, Brian, and Sam to the team, it was done with the purpose of everybody having like similar mindsets, having a great synergy amongst the group, so that we all would it would be a smooth process. Because when you're bringing together multiple personalities from different backgrounds, you at least want to have the same synergy, and it's worked fantastic. It kind of makes the experience that much more enjoyable when everyone's on the same page about everything, and just really pleased with how everything's come together. Of course, winning helps, right? The winning makes us all look a lot smarter and more loving, but nah, it's a great group of guys. Everybody's on the same page, and we've had a lot of fun. Just, Sam had a colt that unfortunately withdrew the morning of the Derby 10 years ago, and I know how much this meant for him. And Chase and Brian are doing so much to bring new people to the sport with their Commonwealth app, and having those 300 fans, micro shareholders, with a minimal investment, have such an amazing ride. And obviously they're having quite the thrill with Country Grammar and We the People, so it's continued their journey. And myself and Gustavo, we've spoken till we're blue in the face of how special this is for us. So it's just, it's just a great feeling, man. Everybody had the faith to jump in on the horse, and we're getting rewarded. So it's a beautiful thing.
Is
We
the phone
talk-
ringing a lot for more people wanting to come in? Breeding farms, etc. Owners.
Well,
You know.
the racing thing is locked up. You know,
Right.
we got some calls about that after, his pre Kentucky Derby and
Right.
stuff. And I mean, we're not that good looking, so it is pretty cool to feel you're pretty, to be told you're good looking. We're in discussions, but just letting that flow organically, Bob. We really just letting it come to us. We're not in a timetable
Right.
or rush to make moves, but it's been flattering to have some of the most respected names domestically and internationally calling about your colt, and with patience and temperance, we're reviewing those things. But the Preakness is the first thing on our mind, and we'll get to those things when we get them.
It certainly seems.